Okay, so we're going to go through the mounting process of installing a Stihl MS-170. It's a stock 170, except I added the metal dogs. These plastic ones I find are a little weak, and when they sit in the mount, they don't work that great. All this stuff is related to the mounting of the saw, so you don't need any of this. So you can put all that to your side. You're going to be real. I'm going to turn it over to my video man, and he's going to video. Okay, so you're going to be really excited to get your new mount. You're going to want to put on your bike. I'm going to tell you to not do that. Instead, just take a little bit of time and do this little bit of bench work, and it'll go a lot better. And once you get on the bike, it'll go fast. So come on down. I'll show you some of the pieces and the features of the mount. There is this, I call it the attachment plate, or it holds, it's built to fit right here, and it goes either this way or this way. The same can be said for this piece. This goes on the saw body. It goes here. And it can go this way or this way as well. This is the dog lock, and it's built to fit on the dogs, and it can go that way, this way, or even this way. And that piece goes right. I've installed the dog lock. The next piece is I'm going to install these bolts for the saw body mount. They, like I said, this saw body mount can go lots of ways. I'm going to try it this way first for the 170. See how it goes. I've also installed the 2 bolts for the top saw handle mount. That's this piece right here. Sorry. That's this piece right here. Like I said, it can go this way or that way. So we're going to see which way it fits best with the saw, and we'll go from there. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. And the most important part of this process, if you look, is the dogs. So this dog lock. So just put the saw in the mount, put it right to the bottom. Oh, and there we can see this is, if you look here really close, you can see that it just binds up there, so I'm going to have to switch this. Okay, so it didn't work that way, so I just flipped that mount the other way and flipped the bolts to the back side. Now you can see there's a nice tight fit there. I want you to pay attention. I'm just going to kind of look right in here on this dog lock. So the dog lock in this position doesn't work really good, because if you look, it's kind of below the chain. If you look right in there, you can see the chain is not on it. So I'm going to move it up one spot. Okay, so now you can see that when we move this piece in, sorry, I'll take this from my cameraman. Okay, so now we're just going to kind of see which way this fits. This is built to go, like I said, this way or that way. For the 170, it works best this way. What I'm going to do is just kind of use the supplied rubber and cut a little piece for that, just to kind of protect the saw and provide a little bit of cushion. I'm going to use some brake clean. Just give it a quick wipe. And like I said, this is pretty sticky stuff. It works real good. You can do that at any time. So there we go. And so that'll go right there. And if we look on the bottom, these 2 bolts come right through. And I'll just put these 2 caps on. Just a side note, if you don't like the way these are fitting, like you feel like this is too much space, you can actually grind these down if you want. There we go. So when we set this up, I've set up the dog lock, and now I'll just kind of make sure that the saw is nice and straight. Like you should see a nice straight line there. This is kind of going to be the home position for the saw when it's in the mount. So I've finger tightened the dog lock. Now I'll just finger tighten these, and then we can move to the next step. Okay, so here we are. We've set the kind of the handle top plate. We've set the dog plate. This is an extra step that I like to do. It just kind of really helps it set in there good. So we've already set the top. So if you look at where this lays, right in there, it's not quite totally level. So what I like to do is take this out and just run a file here and get that nice and flat, so that when it's resting in that dog lock, it's very secure and you have the most amount of contact. If you want, you can either kind of go into this plastic a little bit. And if you look at that, show that right here. See how it's nice and flat there versus this curve? So that when the dog lock sits on it, rather than it be kind of like that, it's nice and flat and has a lot of contact. The other thing you can do is kind of make sure that all these dogs are the same. So if you like, you can kind of trim off the tops there and just make them all flat, so that when they're laying in the mount, they're getting the most amount of contact. You can see it can just take a little bit off of those two, and then it'll be nice. Okay, so now looking at this modified dog here, you can see that when this comes and fits inside, it'll fit nice and snug into that dog lock piece. And then for the flatness, that when this is laying on, all those pieces are nice and flat, so you get the most amount of contact. What that looks like here is like that. I will say that there we go, that's kind of the dog locks all ready to go, and that system all ready. If you don't like how high that is and you want it to set down, you can take a little bit of material out of here. However, the dogs on bigger saws like 250s or 362s need that space. So if you're going to use this from any saws, I would just leave it like that. Okay, so now we're moving on to the last step. So we've done the top handle, we've done the dog lock. It's nice and flat. Now this is very simple. We just need to push that up, kind of right there, and then we'll just tighten up these bolts. Just finger tight for now. And there we go. We're pretty much ready to go. Next thing we'll do is just put some rubber on some pieces. So looking at this, these are the things to look for. One, the saw is nice and flat when it's in the mount, and it's straight in a linear way along that side. There's a piece of rubber there, and we'll go over that next. And then that this is nice and flat with the bottom of the saw. So the last step of this is just to kind of put a piece of rubber there, just so that the saw has something nice to sit on. So this is supplied in the kit. Just give that a quick cut, and like last time, it's, you know, sticks better if you clean it. So give it a quick clean with some brake clean, and that'll fit. Right about there, just like that. Just give that saw body something to kind of bounce off. And the other thing that you can do is put some rubber here. When you look at how this saw sits in the mount, bring it up here, without shaving those, dogs, there's quite a bit of space there. I'm sure you can see that. So if you want, you can try to stack some rubber in there, or if when you do shave that down, there's rubber to put right, to kind of put right between the teeth and the here we go plate. This is the last part of this side of the install. We essentially want to install this in a way that makes sense so that we can latch this. I always suggest putting this on this outside tab here, because then as you pull it tight, it works. it's supplied with this one, and there's also this other strap, which is quite a bit longer. The holding mechanism works for both of them, and these are both included in the kit. Pause.
Action.
Okay, are you right here? Can you see? So we're just gonna install this. This is very simple. I got a 3/16 bit. I'm gonna just use that to mark my hole. Oopsie. And then I'm gonna just drill a quick hole in there right in the center. All right, now this this bolt should fit right through there perfectly. So now we just have to kind of make a hole for that. For that, I just like to use a little bit of paint, and I'll put that in, put it in the hole, and that's where my hole needs to be. Pause. The placement of this one's pretty important, so I like to use a punch just to kind of set it in the right spot. This one you don't need to go all the way through if you don't want to. I'm going to opt not to, just to kind of keep it a little tidier. And there we go with the supplied nut. This just goes right on there. And that's part one. So part two is installing this. I like to kind of install it as close as possible. You can go either up here on this side, depending on where you are, or on this side. For this saw, it seems to make sense to put it here. So I'm gonna mount it as close as I can to this plate here. I'm just gonna show you from the top. Yep. I'm just gonna put this at a little bit of an angle, because by the time it gets pulled over for this mount, actually I'm gonna leave it straight. So I'll mount it is straight like that. Pause. Oh, again, I like that little bit of paint. I'll put that right in the center. Oh, you can't see it that good. Okay, so we've tightened up those these bolts affixing this. This latch, honestly, if you don't like pulling that hard, you could swap it out with this one. It would make it a little easier. Also, if you look here, you can put it down here so that it kind of goes over this part of the saw. It would keep it a little bit off of this metal. However, I like it really tight, so this latch, when you have to really yank on it quite hard to kind of get it to latch, works good. Now the saw is totally stuck in the mount. You can grab the mount. It's not going anywhere there. One. So for the next piece, we're gonna go to the bike and put it on the bike. So for that, I'm gonna take the saw off because we don't need the saw on for that. And next video.